all right, my wife or my spouse is not working, but I am working. My spouse wishes to invite her parents. She doesn't have any income. Now, how is it possible? My name is Sajjad Malik and I'm a business and immigration lawyer in Oakville, Ontario. Yes, in such cases, if she or he doesn't have sufficient income, she could ask the other spouse to sign an undertaking to support, and then the spouse's income would add up towards the minimum necessary income, but the spouse would also be liable for the undertaking, which you would also be signing for 20 years' time. There are people who have been waiting for 20 years for these invitations, and unfortunately they were not able to secure one. So if you are among the luckier ones who got the invitation, you should not shy away from doing everything to make it a successful application. There are two applications in that package. One is by the sponsor. The second one is by the permanent resident. The sponsor is the Canadian child who has been invited or selected to apply by the IRCC and has now 60 days. Principal applicant are the parents, grandparents, who would also be submitting their permanent resident applications. First element, which I'll talk about, is who can sponsor parents. Now, you have to be a Canadian citizen. So you are a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident or an Indian registered as an Indian in Canada under the Indian Act. You should provide the evidence of your citizenship in Canada, which could be in the form of your citizenship certificate, or it could be a valid Canadian passport. Second, you have to establish the relationship with your parent. Now, in recent years, I came across a case where the sponsor didn't have evidence to show relationship. There was no birth certificate available, and we had to go get the DNA testing done for both the parent and the child to determine the relationship. Now, if they are your grandparents, you have to provide two-step evidence to show your relationship with your parents and then your parents' relationship with your grandparents to establish that you have a relationship. You must be 18 years of age. No one below 18 years of age is able to sponsor parents. Now, one more thing is that you have to show that you are living in Canada. When you will be submitting that application, you would be living in Canada. And your Canadian address, anything which depicts that you are in Canada, that you are residing in Canada, that evidence should also be provided within the application. And lastly, you have to show that you meet the minimum necessary income to sponsor your parents, that you are able to bear all the expenses of your own family, you yourself, your spouse, your dependent children, and then you are also able to bear all the expenses of your parents or grandparents, or if they have any dependents. So you have to consult the LICO table, the minimum necessary income table, and see whether you are able to meet those requirements, and then you have to bump up the income to 30% in the case of LICO. Someone who is sponsoring his parents or grandparents, that person would be responsible to bear the expenses of 20 years. So for 20 years, he or she is taking care of all expenses of their parents, their maintenance, their day-to-day care, their dental and some basic needs. You sign that undertaking when you're submitting that application. If there's a co-signer, the co-signer also signs that application. Now, during this period, the 20 years after they become PRs, if any of the parents or any of the foreign national who became a PR goes and claims social assistance, then you are still liable for this. If they claim that social assistance during this period, then the principal applicant is liable, and that principal applicant will be asked by the government to pay off the debts. So that's something which you have to keep in mind, that this is a long-term commitment. When you're doing it, you cannot shift the burden. You are still responsible and you are on the hook. When you have completed your sponsorship forms, then you work on the permanent residence application. That is an application by the parents. Now, if you have two parents coming in, let's assume, then one becomes the principal applicant, the second one becomes dependent, and if there's another dependent, they are also included in that application. Permanent residence application is like all other permanent residence application under the classes. They require information. They want to look at whether you are meeting all the requirements, whether there's any criminal or medical inadmissibility or some other kind of obstruction in your case. In those cases, those applications are refused as well. And there is always an option that if you are facing any issue or any challenge, you can always do a limited consultation with a lawyer. If you don't want to a lawyer or law firm to be engaged in this for a whole application process, then you can go to a lawyer, a barrister, and a solicitor who practices immigration law, and go ahead and do and schedule a legal consultation. You may have to pay an amount for that, but then it would be worth it. This is also possible that you complete your application on your own, and then before submitting it, you schedule a couple of hours with a lawyer to review your application package and to pick up if there are any mistakes. Remember, you don't have to mess up this invitation. This is a very precious invitation, and you should do your best to make it a success. I would be very happy to schedule any consultation, or if you have any questions, you can post it on our website. You can send them directly to us, and we'll be very happy to support you. My contact information is noted at the end of this video, and I'll be very happy to support anyone who wishes to engage a counsel, a lawyer, in representing his case before the immigration authorities. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week ahead.